Hey guys, how are you doing today? I hope you all are doing well. So I thought I would do a little monthly favorites video since it is towards the end of the month, and I'll actually be gone for a few days. I'm going to Joshua Tree National Park for a long weekend, and I've been planning that trip a bit this week, and I'd love to hear from you guys too. If any of you have been to Joshua Tree National Park, comment below if you have any recommendations for the area. One of the things I've been working on, or at least for this year and next year, is trying to visit more national parks, so I am really excited about that. And another thing before I jump into my monthly favorites, I will be announcing the winner of my February giveaway in a couple days. So I'll be announcing the winner on Wednesday. So this is your last chance to enter that giveaway to win the 5 tarot and oracle decks. So I will post the link down in the description below in case you want to enter that giveaway. So let's jump into some of my favorites for this month. And this month it's going to be a couple tarot and crystal and book favorites, I guess you could say. And we'll start with tarot. And I wanted to show you guys a new deck that I got, and this is the Crystal Bone Tarot, and this is by Jace Anderson, and he's another great kind of small independent deck creator, and I will link his website down below in case you want to check it out. And this deck is extremely quirky. It's very unique. It's got this hand-drawn feel. It's kind of reminds me a bit of Edward Gorey, who is an illustrator that I really admire, and I have an oracle deck from Edward Gorey. But this one is a traditional tarot deck, so you got your major arcana, you got your minor arcana. I pulled out a couple cards so you can kind of get an idea of what the deck looks like. So it's all in black and white here. You have the Magician card. Some of the figures are in kind of odd poses. It's very whimsical. Here is the Devil card, for example. Here's the Hanged Man. I think it's very amusing how the head is almost like a slinky here. And here is the Hierophant. So just to give you kind of an idea on that style, very quirky, very minimalist in a way, and the deck itself too, it does a lot of the triangle symbols that you associate with the 4 elements from alchemy, and that's always fun for me because that's actually my logo, is the air sign. So I thought I would just show you, for example, here with this Cups card here. You can see you have the upside down triangle representing the element water. So these symbols feature pretty prominently in the deck. And here you have the 4 of Swords featuring that air sign on the forehead. This image looks very much like Avatar: The Last Airbender a bit, if you're familiar with that animated TV show. And another thing with the minor arcana is he changes the names of 2 of the suits. So instead of wands, you have bones, and instead of pentacles, you have crystals. And there you can see that earth sign there on the wrist in the image. So this has been a fun kind of new whimsical deck that I've been working with this month, and I am just so happy to be able to communicate with all the new deck creators out there, and it's been really fun to see all the kind of creative surge that social media has allowed all these new deck creators to kind of share their artistic pursuits, and that's been really lovely. So the next thing I wanted to show you as a favorite is my new Labradorite tower. And this is a piece that I got recently in like a crystal box, and I actually featured this in a recent video, in an unboxing video. And Labradorite, I did have a small piece of Labradorite before, but nothing kind of this large and not in kind of a tower form. So I'm excited to have this Labradorite tower. And this stone is generally associated with things like intuition and kind of improving psychic messages, and in general it's, I think, a good stone to use if you are into tarot reading like I am. So I've been placing this stone next to where I keep the tarot decks that I use most often. So this is a really nice piece that I am really happy to have added to my collection. So I will post the video down below too, where I kind of go over more about crystals and stuff in my recent unboxing video. And I have two more things I wanted to show you guys, and these are actually books. And the first book, I don't have an actual physical copy because I'm reading it on Kindle right now. But this book is called The Darkening Age, and it's by Catherine Nixie. So I will leave a link to the Goodreads description of the book down below in case you are interested in learning more. And I first heard about this book a few weeks ago. I read a piece in the New York Times that was talking about it, and it's definitely made a significant splash in the literature world, and that's because it's a bit controversial because it talks about paganism and Christianity. And as a pagan, I am very interested in learning about the history of the transition when society went from a majority pagan society into a majority Christian society. I find that time period very fascinating. And the premise of this book is Catherine kind of hopes to convey that Christianity did have a significant influence when it came to the destruction of classical culture within the world, and then as well as the destruction of scientific discovery. So it's a bit of a risky thing to talk about. Traditionally, when you talk about early Christian history, it focuses on, you know, how horrible the Romans were. You know, there's all these kind of things like, oh, the Romans threw the Christians in the Colosseum and fed them to the lions. So what she's really trying to do is to give people a sense of the other side of the story. So what was it like as a pagan during the time of early Christianity? And it is really fascinating when you think about it. At the time Constantine converted, it's believed that only like 10% of the populace in the Roman Empire were Christian, and then within a century 90% become Christian and only 10% really are pagan anymore. And of course those numbers are debatable, but within a few centuries it was such a massive shift, both within religion but also within the politics, within the culture, within the science. And as someone who adores art, and I studied art history in school, reading all the stories of how much art and texts and scrolls and mathematical discoveries were destroyed during this time period is really sad and crazy. So it's a really fascinating book to kind of give you a bit of another perspective on this time period, one that isn't necessarily normally talked about, though of course because it is taking a bit of a more pagan perspective of the time period and looking at it through that lens, though I don't think Catherine Nixie herself is pagan, it does definitely bring in a lot of controversy. So if you are interested in this book, definitely check out the Goodreads link below and take a look at some of the reviews. Some people are saying she goes too far in the other direction. Some people are happy that she's bringing this perspective to the story. So it's been really fascinating to read so far, and I'm learning a lot about that time period. So this book has been great. And another book that I've been obsessed with this month is something a little bit different, and that is this cookbook. It's called Plenty More, and it's mostly kind of vegetable or plant-based cooking, and it's from, I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, but it's a famous restaurant in London, Ottolenghi, and the recipes in here are just amazing. This book really kind of is a showstopper for anyone who wants to get better at cooking vegetables or cooking vegetables as a main course. And I'm not vegetarian specifically or vegan, but I do eat a lot of vegetarian or vegan foods. So this book has been really great for me. I've been cooking a lot of recipes in here, and it's made getting through the last dregs of winter a little bit more cheerful and bright by cooking all of this great plant-based food. And one of the things that's a big part about kind of my pagan practice is fitting it into my day-to-day life. And I am someone that loves to cook. So cooking to me is just another way to connect back with nature, to connect back with earth, and trying to incorporate seasonal vegetables and seasonal fruits and things like that is another great way that I try and stay in tune with the wheel of the year. So let me know if you're ever interested in learning more about that aspect of my kind of pagan path, where I do a lot of cooking and kind of kitchen witchery, things like that. Let me know if you are interested in hearing more about that. So that is my monthly favorites video for this month, and thank you guys so much for watching, and all of your continued support has been so wonderful. So I will be gone next week, so I can't promise you a video for next week, but I'm going to try, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.